it. Have you seen it, Spencer, and do you care?
I absolutely care. We've been waiting for this for a long, long time, and I'm going to push every single person who is younger than me out of the way when I get to the cinema to get in and see it.
Welcome to What's Trending, where we unpack the stories that everyone's talking about and the ones they will be. I'm Lewis Oakley, and my co-host this week is Spencer Cooper, photographer and content creator. We've got a lot to get through, from Devil Wears Prada to Christmas adverts to some questionable devices coming out of Apple. So let's get straight to it with our first story. The first story that has been trending this week is the Devil Wears Prada 2. Been a lot of hype about this as they've been filming it, and they just dropped their first teaser. Not really a trailer, it's more of a teaser. But the internet went wild. I was actually putting this show together and saw everyone posting about it. Have you seen it, Spencer, and do you care?
I absolutely care. We've been waiting for this for a long, long time, and I'm going to push every single person who is younger than me out of the way when I get to the cinema to get in and see it. Yeah, this was really exciting for me, and I think exciting for the queer community also. The fashion, the original cast are coming back, so we got Meryl, we've got Anne Hathaway, we've got Stanley Tucci, and we've got Emily Blunt, and they're all returning, which is great. And then there's a star-studded lineup as well. I don't know if you saw. There's tons of people that are going to feature.
Oh, interesting. No, I mean, all I've seen of it, it is a viral story, and that's what this show is all about, really. Like the stories you actually see on your feeds. And I have seen a lot of things on my feeds about Devil Wears Prada 2. I don't know whether they filmed it sort of as and just like that season 3 was sort of ending. So I think that there was a lot of people that were sort of interested in that, sort of then went on to the hype around the filming around Devil Wears Prada 2. I mean, look, here's the thing. There's not many films where I'm like, oh, I'll go and see that in the cinema these days. But actually, I feel like, I don't know if you've got this. Obviously, like everyone else, I've got sort of Netflix, Disney Plus, YouTube, I've got all the streamings basically. And I cannot find anything to watch. And you know what I've realized it is? There are a lot of new shows and films that come out these days, and I put them on, and it depresses me. I'm like, oh, you know what? I feel worse off than before I started putting this on. Now I'm worried about this woman's being abused, and this guy's like mental health is bad, and that there's debt, and I'm like, I want to. Like, the world is hard enough. I want to put something on and it just be silly and fun. And that's what I'm hoping Devil Wears Prada 2 will be, to the point where I'd actually go and see it in the cinema. Because it's like, their biggest problems are like Prada and clothes. Like, it's cool.
Yeah, I hope that they don't make it too political. You're right. I think we definitely go to cinema and we go to TV to escape from reality. And I think reality is being injected more and more into these things. But I think the reason for that is because it's what we consume. So they know it's what people are seeing, not necessarily what people want to see. And so people continue to see it. It's that familiarity of just seeing doom and gloom everywhere all the time and seeing it reflected in what we see for entertainment also.
Yeah, I need some positivity. I can't. The one that really took the biscuit for me on that kind of thing was I used to watch the Superman and Lois TV show. So I'm watching a superhero show. And I think in season 3, Lois Lane gets cancer, and I would say half of the story of that season was about her cancer journey. Now, obviously, people get cancer, and it's, something we shouldn't shy away from. But where I needed something upbeat, and I think that people with cancer kind of like want to have something that they can watch and just like not think about the problems. And I think that increasingly now in a lot of entertainment, it's like, well, we can't just have people happy. We have to give them something to deal with, whether it's cancer or debt or mental health or abuse. And I think that people need to like it is okay to just make shows that are just fun escapism. It's not doing a disservice to anyone's struggle, because a lot of people that are struggling just want to take their mind off it and watch something light and easy. Otherwise, we're just going to have to watch the Kardashians all the time.
Whoa. There's nothing wrong with watching the Kardashians all the time, but we won't get into that right now. It's interesting because one of the kind of downfalls of The Devil Wears Prada 2 is that I have seen the fans are so crazy for it that they are going to each film set or scenario, around New York, whatever, and they're posting it all online. So we're seeing outfits already. We're seeing the cast already. We're seeing where they are already. And so by the time the film comes, I feel like I might have seen the whole bloody thing through social media. So it's disappointing that we're so hyped about it that we're actually just sharing it all online before it actually comes out. Like, there's no element of surprise anymore.
Well, you know what? That's interesting, because that was the next thing I was going to ask you about, because like you, I have seen the outfits and filmings of different scenes, obviously all the outdoor stuff. So do you feel that does a disservice, or does that sort of get you hyped and excited for it in the run up to it being released? Or will you get to the cinema and be like, I kind of half know what's going to happen? Because obviously you've only seen the stuff that's filmed outside. There'll be a
Yeah.
lot of stuff that's filmed on a soundstage you won't have any idea about. But you really think that it takes away from it that we see so much now on social media ahead of time?
Yeah. We saw Lady Gaga early on, and she's going to feature, and it's that for me. It's that disappointment. Like when you see those features in the moment in the cinema, you'll be like genuinely shocked or excited by it. So I think it does both, because I'm also now more likely to go and watch it because I know Lady Gaga's in it. So it's a double-edged sword for sure. But yeah, I think overall it takes away. I don't want to see anything. Sometimes trailers give us too much about a story and what's going on before we even see the film. And I want to go in and have that element of surprise and seeing something for the first time.
Fair enough. And what do you think about teasers now, which I guess are made more for our sort of online TikTok-y generation? Like before, you used to have to wait for a trailer. It was, it told you sort of what the story was going to be about in a, 1 to 3 minutes. Whereas now you are just getting someone walking into the lift and making a sassy comment. Like, do you like the idea of the teasers, or would you rather we just had a trailer drop?
Not just someone walking into the lift, Lewis Oakley. This is Miranda Priestley. I can't believe you just said that. I mean, yeah, I have the TikTok, low attention span brain. And so it was perfect for me. And it was so exciting to see. It made me go and check when the film was coming out. And it's not coming out till May next year. So like they're really dragging this out, which is why I guess a teaser is a good thing to do, because it keeps us interested and it reminds us, oh yeah, that's happening. But yeah, they're dragging this out. I want a trailer, and I want the film to come out the week or two after. Otherwise, like I can't keep up with that.
Interesting. I mean, May's not that long away,
It
What
is.
that, like 6
It's
months
so
away?
long.
Yeah, I guess because you got the break of Christmas, it feels like a bit more broken up. Anyhow,
It will happen.
just before we move off this, and not something that I think we were going to talk about, but we obviously saw the teaser for Devil Wears Prada drop, but just as I was sort of getting ready to come on and film this episode, the teaser for Toy Story 5 dropped as well. I don't know if you got to see that.
Yes, I haven't seen it. Oh wait, no, I did see it. This is exactly what we just commented on, by the way, about not bringing in the difficulties of reality into these things that we escape for. Because I believe, and this isn't a spoiler, go watch the trailer, that in Toy Story 5, the toys are going to be battling a tablet. And I just can't be doing with like this nonsense now. Toy Story was so good. First of all, you shouldn't be making 5 films of anything. I think it's too much. Although I will absolutely be seated in the cinema to see it because I've grown up with it and I have to be there. But yeah, toys versus tablet is, yeah, it's too much of a commentary on the real world and what parents I'm sure are facing, and you'll know all about that, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's interesting. So, I mean, you want to talk about people spoiling things and making you wait years. I knew that this was going to be the topic of the film like years ago. Like I think they said like that'll be the next thing, and they may have even released sort of a picture of it was like a picture of Bonnie in bed, like watching her tablet under the covers, and the toys sort of left to the side looking sad. So they have kind of teased this for like a year or two now, that it was going to be about tablets. I mean, I think it will, if they do it right, create a lot of discussion around should we be allowing kids to be on tablets? And I don't know, let's see where that debate goes. I mean, both of my kids, well, all 3 of my kids have tablets. Obviously, a 16-year-old has a phone too, but the little ones do have tablets, and they are useful for parenting. I think it's just about how much time you let them be on it and what they're doing. I don't know, the kids today are going to grow up in a technological world. You can't really shield them from it forever. So
Yeah.
I don't know, let's see what the film says.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Moving on to our next trending topic. Now, this is really interesting. I can't wait to see where you actually fall on this one. But AI music is now charting weekly. So the data is basically showing that music made with AI has sort of infiltrated the charts, and it's doing well, and it's not a blip or a hype. It's actually just becoming a bit of the new normal. Where do you stand on AI music?
Okay. I don't know where I stand with AI music. I mean, the thought of it annoys me there are artists out there that I'm a huge fan of. There are artists out there that are putting a lot of work into their craft. There are independent artists that are not signed to labels that have to work even harder to get their music out there and to build an audience and to tour and to do and all of those things. However, I don't believe, and this might be controversial, I don't know, I don't believe that an AI artist is an AI artist. Like, surely there is somebody sending that instruction or pressing that button, and as somebody that uses AI in my profession, you still have to, like, if you want those songs to be consistent, or like to create an album that has 12, voices that sound the same on each track and have, kind of recurring themes, or like just that, like I said, consistency, there has to be a human behind that instructing it and perfecting it and making sure that it's right. And so if a human is still putting time and effort into creating that and it sounds good, then why shouldn't we listen to it? But like I said, I think artists will feel very strongly about having something else swoop in and take them, knock them out of the charts and take them off the top spots potentially.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't agree more, to be honest. I'm really more of a fan of AI than a skeptic, but like with any sort of new technology that comes in, there are going to be some winners and losers. And unfortunately, we have to think about the artists in one respect. But at the same time, when we brought in central heating, no one was talking about the chimney sweep going out of. I know that that's a little bit different.
The
maybe
poor
a bit of a
chimney
weird comparison.
sweeps. Justice for the chimney sweeps.
Justice for the chimney sweeps. Or even, my granddad would tell me there used to be a guy that came around and knocked on each door and lit the candles or lit the street lamps or something before the street lamps were electric. And it's like, like things do move on. And I think we'll always have artists because I don't, it's not just one of those jobs that's done for admin, right? Like people are getting out their emotions, they're putting their feeling in, they're making a tune. Like it's something that I think will always be there. Music will always be there. But yeah, I think maybe you could say it's democratizing access a little bit. Like not everyone can sing, not everyone can play an instrument, but actually being able to sort of play with the sound a little bit and, tell the AI, it needs to be a bit more like this and a bit more like that and perfect it. And look, it just is what it is. I mean, I'm sure there are probably, the BBC and ITV furious that people are watching this podcast now rather than watching them when they've got hundreds of people employed that are putting on a show right now on ITV you could go and watch that's hundreds of thousands of pounds have been spent on, and people would rather listen to this podcast. So it just is what it is. I don't. Is it bad? I mean, we're very sorry for any music artists, but at the same time, it just is what it is.
It is, but also it comes down to what you invest. Like I invest in an artist as a person, and I appreciate we only know what they share with us. So I'm not saying like me and Beyonce, text and are besties, but I'm invested in that story and the history and what the album's about and what they've put into it. And I appreciate that AI will have the ability to go and take like all of the heartbreak that exists online and, the worst possible things, and also the best songwriting or the best songwriters or the best skills of songwriting. So I appreciate it might be able to do a better job, but, how does this look in terms of meeting the AI artist or going and seeing the tour of the AI artist and all of that, the stuff that we invest in, and we're like, I want to support this person. So I think there is that personal level that a lot of us really do invest in when we're listening to our favorite artists, people we've grown up with and people's stories. And that's going to be missing unless they build a whole persona also. And then we're getting into, the whole Alexa business all over again. And it's all a bit crazy. But yeah, I think it's unavoidable. I guess if you don't like it or support it, don't listen to it, and then it won't chart. But yeah,
I agree. And here's the thing: I actually could see myself spending time making music now with AI, as in like just not to release or anything like that, but for myself, like if I need music to focus, or maybe pulling together sort of like an upbeat track for if I'm feeling a bit like low. Let's move on to something else that people have been talking about this week, which is Christmas. Now, namely, I think last week we had the John Lewis advert, which is always a big fanfare over, but this week we had the Waitrose Christmas ad. And they basically this year have done it as a bit of a rom-com, and they've got Keira Knightley in it. and there's, what's his name from the Traitors? Joe
Wilkinson.
Joe Wilkinson. And so basically they meet in the Waitrose deli counter, and then they have this sort of whirlwind romance that's all sort of linked together through food, because it's by Waitrose. How much do you care about these Christmas ads? Because it's one of those things, you see things online, and people are always talking about things, and I just struggle to connect with these Christmas ads.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to be talking about Christmas until December, and that's just me. And even in December, there's a question mark because I'm a bit of a Scrooge. However, I'm glad that we're talking about something other than the John Lewis advert. I think this year I did see it. It was a bit of a disappointment. And I know that they, a lot of thought and a lot of production goes into these things, but I was just enticed by the tagline of the Waitrose ad. Okay. I love Joe Wilkinson. I love Keira Knightley. I think that's brilliant that they got, they got them together. And they fall in love over a cheese counter. Like, it couldn't be more Waitrose, but food is the way to our hearts. Absolutely. And so I'm on board with that. So my kind of comment on the whole thing is to anyone listening who wants to, feed me up and marry me. Like, I'm so here for it. Like, I think it's a much better message, and it's a universal message, connected to what Waitrose do and what they're known for, versus John Lewis, who kind of centered it around a vinyl, which they probably do sell, but like, there's so much more that they could have done and gone into. So yeah,
but you love a vinyl.
I do love a vinyl, but that's why it just didn't resonate with me. I just wasn't into it. I don't know. Yeah, the Waitrose ad, Christmas ads, it's all cheese, isn't it? In the literal sense and in the non-literal sense, but it's all just cheesy, and I don't want to feel, festive and merry and bright right now.
Fair enough. So I am different to you. I love Christmas. I'm happy to get Christmas started early. I've already done my Christmas cards, and we're recording this for, we don't know when this is going to come out, but we're recording this on the 13th of November. And
Wild.
I've already done my family's Christmas cards. So I like to get a jump on it, but I have got young kids. I think my issue, maybe with this advert and Christmas in general, is every Christmas film and a lot of the Christmas sort of fanfare around it is all about finding love at Christmas. And that really irritates me, because you're focusing on such a small percentage of people's experience at Christmas. Like, girl who left her small town and went to the big city now returns to a small hometown and falls back in love with her high school boyfriend, or the guy that never paid her any attention in high school because he's had a glow up, and they're all going to be happy. I'm like, that is so boring, and it's so like, it's like so I wouldn't mind that, like, in moderation every now and again, but I want to see Christmas films and Christmas adverts where we have fun. Like, my favorite Christmas film is Jingle All the Way, because it's actually just so relatable. It's like, oh, he forgot to get his kid a Christmas present, and then he has this wild adventure trying to get his kid the right Christmas present. That's what I want. I want films where it's like the neighbors go to war over the Christmas decorations in the street and they're sabotaging each other. I just don't know why it always has to be about love. I want someone stranded because their flight's delayed to get home for Christmas. So this wild road trip, and it's insane. That's what I want. I don't need love at Christmas. I just don't care. I already have love. I don't need to. It just sort of does not resonate with me at all.
We want to see more disaster at Christmas. I see.
Disaster competition. I mean, here, take this idea. If there is anyone listening that is in the filmmaking business, I think it would be so good to have a film where everyone's ordered their Christmas presents on Amazon, and then something happens to Amazon, like either the warehouse catches fire or the app goes down, and so then everyone's there like panicking, like, oh my god, we're not going to get our presents in time for Christmas. So then everyone has to go to their old rundown high streets. And then they rediscover the true meaning of Christmas through connection and, having a cake whilst they're fighting over the last Turbo Man doll.
We're such hypocrites, because we just discussed Devil Wears Prada 2 and not bringing in reality into our entertainment that we're trying to escape. And you just shut down Amazon in a single film.
No. But I'm saying my issue with that was that I don't like depressing stuff. I don't like watching stuff and then starting to have to worry about, have I got cancer, or is this person's mental health okay? I want escapism. And watching a film where Amazon goes down, everyone goes a bit crazy, and they're all having a little fight with each other in the last remaining Woolworths or whatever. Like, I would, that's funny. That's funny. Yeah. And I've already ordered most of my Christmas presents, so it's not going to happen to me, so we'll be worried about it.
You're too organised. Okay. I mean, yeah, I'm here for it. It's essentially The Grinch, but in modern times. I mean, he steals all the presents.
Yeah. Just before we move off this Christmas topic, because this is a show about what's trending, I did want to point out the scarf that Keira Knightley wears in this Waitrose Christmas advert. Apparently, it's a £29 olive green scarf, and it's now trending, and people want her scarf. And I think that's quite interesting, because I don't see a lot of that in the modern world now, of like someone wore something in a movie, and now everyone just must simply have it. I don't think that we trend in that way as much anymore, but maybe I'm wrong. I mean, how much do you see people wearing stuff in adverts and films, then you go looking for it?
Yeah, I definitely don't do that. I think it's happening with the likes of global celebrities. So like Taylor Swift might wear a skirt and then it will sell out, you know, and I think the brands are looking at those things and making versions of it and making cheaper versions of it, etc. But that's always happened. But yeah, I'm thrilled that Keira Knightley is the modern day influencer in the Waitrose ad, and that the olive green scarf is going to be what else on everyone's Christmas list this year. I mean, that's capitalism, that's consumerism, that's what we do best. We see it, we want it, we buy it, that's it.
Right, let's move on to our next trend. This is actually sort of a future trend. It hasn't happened yet. A UK beach town that was named a trending destination for next year was previously actually named one of the country's worst seaside towns. Before I sent you this story, where would you have thought this might be?
Well, I saw the headline and not the location, and I assumed you were sending it to me because I grew up in Rhyl in North Wales, and I was like, okay, here we go. We're going to throw some shade over at me for growing up in Rhyl. And then I was delighted to see that it wasn't, but I do have thoughts.
Yeah. So for those listening, it's Weston-super-Mare. Weston-super-Mare has been named as somewhere that is going to be a trending holiday hotspot for Brits in 2026. So I think that's quite interesting. But apparently it's all down to a renewed love for quintessential British beach breaks. And I was talking about this before. I do wonder if this is trending because when something has been called the worst place, I feel like then there are certain people that are so inclined to be like, well, I'm going to go there then, and it'll be so bad it'll be funny, and maybe they've gone and discovered they love it. But what's your take on it?
I mean, so comparing it to Rhyl and this idea of investing a load of money into a big rejuvenation to kind of bring a town back to life, a seaside town back to life. They just built like a giant food marketplace in Rhyl. They spent like £10 million on it. And I'm still in some of the like local Facebook groups where people obviously just whinge and complain all day long about everything that's going on in their towns. But I saw a lot of people complaining about the fact that it was so expensive to rent because they spent so much doing it and it was inaccessible, and they had to be open from 9 a.m. till midnight, and someone was like, I make like Asian cuisine and no one's eating that at 9 a.m. Like, what, you know, this isn't going to work, and 7 days a week and all of this stuff. So it's interesting. I think they think throwing money at things is the answer, and there has to be a strategy and a plan behind it. I agree that if something is the worst, I absolutely want to go and see it or do it or experience it. And we'll get onto that in one of your future stories later in the episode. But yeah, I don't know if it's going to work or not. I know staycations are definitely becoming more of a thing as opposed to going abroad. But I don't think staycations are cheaper per se. But maybe going to Weston-super-Mare that was named the worst seaside resort might be cheaper than flying to a resort in Tenerife.
Yeah, so, I mean, I think there's a few things here. So one is that I don't think people are sort of booking 2 weeks in Weston-super-Mare. I think they're sort of going for an overnighter is number one. And number two, in the article, it made an interesting point that I thought could be true, which is that basically, no offense to anyone that lives in Weston-super-Mare, but they're basically saying it's very retro. And it's sort of, you know, like a seaside town that became big in the 18th century. So is it tying into the sense that I think a lot of people feel that they want a bit of nostalgia and retro is good? I mean, you look at TV and it's all, you know, Buffy's back, Charm's back, Devil Wears Prada's back. It's like we sort of all want to be back in the 90s. And for a lot of British kids that probably did go to Weston-super-Mare or similar seaside towns in their youth, like, is there a sense of, oh my God, I want to go there? Because linking it back to what you were talking about, like I went to Rhyl most years as a kid. My grandparents would take me for 2 weeks. We'd stay in a caravan, and I went back there a few. No, but I love it. I think of that, and I think of really happy memories with my grandparents. and sunny days and days spent at the beach and walking into the Rill and going to the arcade. And like, there's no, I don't look at Rill and think, ugh. I look there and think, oh, you know what I mean? And so actually, a few years ago now, I think it's about 3 years ago, we took the kids on holiday in Wales, and we just had a baby, so we didn't want to do any flying, so we decided to go to a haven in the UK. Basically, I didn't know this when we booked it, but it was like an hour away from where we used to go in Rhyl, and I was like, we're doing a day trip. So we went back for a day trip, and I loved it. We were walking around the old caravan park, being like, oh my God, like we went to the sort of fun fair bit, which I remember going to. I remember my nan almost dying on one of those rides at the fun fair and thinking that was the most funniest thing that had ever happened. And then my now 16-year-old like went on the same ride, and I was like, oh my God, like, so there is something about nostalgia and going somewhere that feels a bit retro that is appealing, at least to me. What about you?
Yeah, nostalgia definitely sells. Like, I'm definitely leaning more into, I think just when you're younger, your memories are happier because you don't exist in the real world just yet. And I think that, you know, holds a lot of weight, because once you become an adult and you have a family, things become a lot more complicated, you know. So yeah, I think nostalgia sells. I will not be ever going to a seaside town if I can help it. It's not my vibe. It's not where I want to be. But I think an overnighter in the worst seaside resort, go for it. Why not? Enjoy yourself. Have the best time.
It'd be great content, if nothing else.
Just don't take me with you.
Well, you might have a little surprise for your birthday next
No.
year. Right, let's move on. So I was going through Google Trends just to see what people were actually putting into Google and searching for. And one of the top ones, interestingly, was the Aurora Borealis. Because the Aurora Borealis is back again. When I heard about the Aurora Borealis, like as a kid, you kind of think, well, you have to get on a plane to go and see that. And I think a lot of people have it on their bucket list to go and see the Northern Lights. I never even knew it was possible to have them in this country until sort of a year or two ago, when they started saying, oh, well, they'll be visible. And you had some people posting pictures like, oh my God, I saw it. And you're looking at the pictures being like, where? But apparently they're back, and obviously everyone wants to see them. Are you interested in sort of cosmic things? Would you sit in your garden for sort of 4 hours waiting on the off chance of seeing some nice lights in the sky?
Absolutely not. I think it's magical. I think it's cool. The problem is we can see a much better version of the picture or the video or the lights on the internet. And so why would I sit through the night in the garden? I also live in London, and so you can't see anything in the sky. Let me tell you that for free. We have this thing here called pollution, which means that Northern Lights will not be visible or present. I could put money on it. Yeah, and then also, is it a good thing that we can see it in the UK now and we didn't used to? Like, why are they here? Is that connected to global warming? Is that a problem? Is that something that we should be celebrating or something that we should be concerned about?
Well, you know what? I do feel like there are more and more stories these days about space and what's in the sky than there ever really used to be, which I'm here for. I think it's exciting, and I think maybe the human race needs to sort of get out of thinking about all these problems we have and sort of, well, no, just being like, you know what, we're part of something much bigger, and I know your problems feel bad, but like, here's an asteroid. You know, maybe that's what the humans need. Now that we've conquered this planet, we need to go and like colonize Mars, to go and mess that one up. I saw earlier this week there was like, the sun has emitted the biggest sort of like plasma that it's emitted all year, and it could affect electronics on the earth and things like that. So I'm always interested in that. The problem is, when the news get a hold of it, they always turn it into a doom-monger thing, like, careful, all your devices are about to explode because the sun's being weird. And it's like, look, I think we'll be okay. Although I do think eventually, you know, the sun is going to emit something, and it's going to cause a bit of havoc with the internet and tech. And I think that'll be the next thing we'll have to live through. It'll be like, oh, do you remember when like the internet went for 3 days because of the sun?
Yeah.
Like, because it happened before, but it happened, I think, in the 1800s, like before tech was a big thing. So we do need to be careful. As for why we're seeing it here, I guess things are changing. And I mean, it's not necessarily, I don't think it's anything we're doing here on Earth, because like it's in the sky. I don't as much as you might say humans have had a negative impact on the Earth, I don't think we've done anything towards the sun. But I do think that the sun goes through phases as well. So it's interesting that we maybe will see more of these things. And clearly, if it's trending online, people do have an interest in seeing it. And I think that it helps. I think it makes us realize, my God, like, There is a whole universe out there. And sometimes I think you need that perspective.
That's deep, Lewis. It's deep.
It's so deep of me, isn't it? In other trending news, Kim Kardashian, a woman that probably invented the word trending, she is back with a new TV show. So it's not enough that she's sort of a model, an influencer, a lawyer. She now is an actress. And so she's started this new show and it's called All Is Fair. It's about a group of female lawyers. I've seen the first 3 episodes. I'm going to withhold my judgment until I get yours. But basically, at least the mainstream media is panning it, saying it's ridiculous, it's stupid, they want to give it -stars, they hate it. Online, though, and that's what's interesting about this show that looks at things not just in the headlines, but sort of how things react to online, I am already seeing clips of the show clipped up. I don't know if I could repeat it, but there's a scene where one character says to the another, if your mom were into another form of sex, maybe we wouldn't be having this conversation because you wouldn't exist. Anyone that's watched it will know what the actual line is, but I'm trying to PC say it, and loads of people posting that. So online, I think that, quotes and clips are starting to trend because people are in it. So where do you sort of stand on it?
Yeah, I mean, that's people's critique of it, but it's also what makes it so brilliant. I love, this is that lighthearted, I say lighthearted, I've seen episode 4 and it is not lighthearted, so good luck when you get to that and try not to cry. But it's camp, it's funny, it's badass, like, these women are just doing things that we don't see women do on TV so often. They're just in control, they're leading. There's also a hierarchy amongst the women, so you're still seeing power kind of dynamics and those things amongst women also. And I'm obsessed. I'm obsessed with the whole thing. I think it's so funny. We spoke about it earlier, but it received 0% on Rotten Tomatoes. And Kim Kardashian is not shy of being hated and receiving hate and still being relevant for as long as she has been. And it's not fair to just give all the credit to her when we've got Glenn Close, Teyana Taylor, Niecy Nash, Sarah Paulson, a star-studded cast, and they're all brilliant. And I have the joy of watching the Kardashians that is streaming weekly at the same time as this show is coming out. And in the Kardashians, we're seeing them doing the filming or like going to a watching party or like becoming friends with, amongst the cast and stuff. So it's all just tying together my little reality TV world. And it makes me very happy.
Yeah. So, I mean, as you said, I have seen the first 3 episodes, and my honest opinion is I can't decide whether I really love it or really hate it. And that's a really interesting place to be, because there's parts of me where I'm like, well, this is so over the top, and like, we're all female lawyers, so everything we do is ethical and we don't make mistakes. And, they walk into a room, and it's like, people don't walk into a room like that. People don't wear a cape to walk into a room.
Maybe we should.
There's a point where, and this is almost a dream sequence, where Kim Kardashian goes and smashes up someone's car, and she's color coordinated the bat with her dress. And I know in that bit it's a dream sequence, but like, this is too ridiculous. Like, who even has a yellow bat? So
let me just put a pin. Whoa. So that, which you don't know because you're tuned out of things that are trending, maybe. But when Beyonce released an album called Lemonade, in the video of one of the songs, she is in that yellow dress with the baseball bat, smashing up her what we believe is Jay-Z's car. And so it was a reliving, a retelling of the fact that happened. So again, when you're talking about, this is why it's genius. And if you know, but it's a retelling of a viral moment that we've already lived through, and everyone who watched it who knows, unfortunately not you in this case, but now you've got me, your teacher, your guide, it was that, and it was brilliant.
Right. Okay. No, thank you for providing the context, but I wouldn't know that. I think a lot of other people maybe wouldn't know that. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. But yeah, so it's definitely high camp, and like you say, here I am moaning about I want a show that's silly, and just a bit of a breath of fresh, and maybe that's why I will watch the 4th one, although you're telling me it's a bit depressing, so who knows. So let us know in the comments if you've seen it, and if you're a fan or if you are not, and why not. Next up, we are talking about things that are trending for all the wrong reasons. And this week, we are looking at Apple. So, Apple have released a new iPhone Pocket, and it's being ridiculed online. Basically, people are saying it looks like a cut-up sock, and it will knock you back £220. Spencer, have you seen it? What do you think? Would you buy one?
I thought that it was an AI image that was a joke, which tells you everything you need to know about where I stand on this. I, like most of the population, have pockets, like on my actual clothes, and so I don't know why I'd need to carry a pocket. It's like a skinny handbag that's entirely like knitted, that comes in colours that aren't going to go with what you're wearing or match your outfit. And I don't know, it just feels like it's more easy to steal than it was before. Like, it just, the whole thing is a mess.
That was my first thought. In a country, you know, we're recording this in the UK, in a country where phone theft is so high, having a sort of luminous, colourful strap with the phone just dangling there feels like you're asking for it. I don't know.
Yeah. It's literally screaming, like, my phone is right here, please rob me.
Right here. Yeah. I won't be buying one. The article I was reading online about this was saying that this is a bit of a litmus test for people that just love Apple and will just buy anything Apple, whether those people even draw the line at this and say, absolutely not, this is stupid.
Do we think that potentially they've just done it in order to keep the conversation? It's free PR. They don't need to sell it. They're already making so much money. It's just like, everyone talk about Apple again and get Apple back in their minds.
Maybe, but I don't know. I mean, there was that whole saying, wasn't there, back in the day, like, there's no such thing as bad publicity. But I think that was said in a bit of a different time, because I think if you start seeing Apple stupid, I do think it turns people off a little bit. And you know, I was probably someone that was bought into a bit of you need to kind of upgrade and have new tech. Whereas now, I don't really do that as much. A, because it's so expensive, but B, because I'm like, I really couldn't care less that the camera's a few pixels better than the last one, and and the design's a bit more curved now, and you say it's got some sort of new titanium in it, which I don't see anyway. It's like, you know, I think I'm so beyond hype with kind of tech and things like that. Now it's like, no, I functionally need to know how it's going to improve my life. Like, I haven't changed my phone in years. I will change it when they crack Apple Intelligence, because I think that will actually be useful, but I'm not going to upgrade my phone because it comes in a new color now.
That's fair. Odd. It's completely fair. I mean, I see people critiquing it all the time, and then on release day of the brand new iPhone, I saw everyone posting it on their stories, you know, so everyone still is doing that and is buying the latest model because they have to have it. I say everyone, a lot of people. Yeah, it's not for me either. I have to have an iPhone, but I don't have to have the latest iPhone. I couldn't imagine life without it in terms of functioning day to day and doing the things I need to do. But yeah, I don't need to have the latest device. They're all literally the same.
Well, let's stick with our sort of tech theme at the moment, because another thing I found interesting is California has just banned loud streaming ads. So basically, when you're watching a TV show and then it cuts to adverts, they tend to make them louder to get your attention. And California has said, stop doing that, it's irritating. And I am all for this, because I'm so sick of watching a show where the dialogue is so quiet that you've got it turned up, and then you go to an advert and then it's so loud you have to run over and turn it down because you're worried about the neighbors. Like, I don't understand why this wasn't already the law, and why is it only the law in California? Like, surely this should be the law everywhere. Do you care enough, or you're not bothered about this as me?
I am not bothered. I didn't realize this was significant enough. Bearing in mind, when you say California have banned, this was like government have had this conversation and actually done it. I think they've probably got better things to be doing than talking about the volume of the TV, which we all have control over. We all have our controller in our hand or next to us. We can all do that. That's fine. We are capable. I think most people aren't even seeing adverts these days anyway, so it definitely wasn't a big problem. When I read the article, I saw that it impacted the director, who was the person that brought it to government, because it jolted his baby awake because it went louder. And I just think, like, this is not good enough reason to be using public spend on government time to be ruling out, just turn your TV off. Get on with your life. Do something more important. I don't respect that this is what their time is being used for, even though it might be irritating that it gets louder for 3 minutes during your show. I'm so sorry that this is happening to you.
Okay, fair enough. Well, you know what? Let's stick with the political theme as we go into the next story. So this is all about our Prime Minister, Keir Starmer, and he has not had a good week. How close have you been following this political drama? So basically, for those that don't know, I don't know how you could not know, Downing Street came out and said MPs are plotting to get rid of Keir Starmer. He's not having it. He's strong. He's stable. The country would collapse without him. And it's all Wes Streeting's fault. The interesting thing about it was all timed to perfection because Wes Streeting was basically booked to appear on loads of TV shows in the morning. So it didn't give him much time to think about it and react. So of course he had to go on TV and sort of say that he backed the Prime Minister. That was sort of the reason why it was leaked. But it has sort of reflected badly on Keir Starmer because it's like, okay, well, you clearly don't run Downing Street very well. If people are going out briefing against people that are in jobs that you gave them, like what kind of show are you running here? And it's all become this big political mess that is serving no one. Are you aware of the story and do you care?
It makes me want to scream. Like, I prefer my drama in the form of Keeping Up with the Kardashians, okay, than our government, and I appreciate our government have a much bigger impact on my life than the Kardashians do. However,
debatable.
But I think it's just ridiculous, and I'm going to use the word buffoons, that they are spending time listening to their own voices and arguing amongst themselves when the country is in the state that it is in, instead of just listening to their constituents. Like, as someone who's quite uneducated and quite unpolitical, isn't their job literally just to listen to their constituents, take action based on what they learn and what they say, and improve the country, or attempt to improve the country? Why are they arguing? I mean, it's just one bad thing after another. But then we've got all the polls going alongside this that are basically seeing Labour and the other parties in decline in terms of public kind of support. You're focusing your energy in the wrong place. You're doing the wrong thing here, and you're arguing publicly. The country are seeing you do this, and we're getting nowhere. I saw a lot of critique of Keir Starmer, and I continue to, and I have my own thoughts on him, but saying, you know, he's the worst prime minister in the history of prime ministers and all of this. And I swear we say this about every prime minister we have because none of us are ever happy, and for good reason. But we've had votes of no confidence in previous prime ministers. We've had prime ministers that we've kind of aligned with lettuces to see which one is going to last longer. Like, we can't, for me, it's disappointing that our government are somewhat comedic or a joke to us as the public, because that, regardless of who you support or who you vote for or where we're at as a country, it's not a good place to be, I don't think. Like, there isn't that security and stability. I don't believe any of them have, you know, our best interests at heart or are doing, you know, they're just all self-centered, narcissistic, like I said, buffoons, just listening to their own voices and arguing all the time.
Yeah, it's quite interesting. It's interesting to hear it from your point of view as someone that's maybe not as interested in politics as I am. Because I look at this and I get everything you're feeling of the disappointment. Is like, this really is where we're at. I kind of look at it more from a fascinating point of view. Like, I can't believe they've scored an own goal. I can't believe they've said that. Like, this is just wild. But, you know, I think we all should want them to be better. Like, I'm just there sort of just fascinated at this car crash, like, circus. I think realistically, there has always been this going on. Like, politics is a dirty game. It's all about backstabbing. It's all about favors. It's all about climbing up the ladder and, you know, watching your back when you're at the top of the ladder. And this is what's playing out. I think what we've seen in the past sort of 5 to 10 years is because the country is not doing well. These things are fast forwarded now. Like, we're blowing through prime ministers like there's no tomorrow, because at the end of the day, like, people aren't happy and the living situations in the country are not what people want or expect. So then there's more pressure on politics to deliver quicker, and because they can't, they then sort of turn on each other. You know, it's not ideal. I mean, I really, as much as I am kind of on the record as being very against digital ID, which I am, I wouldn't mind exploring the idea of digital democracy a little bit more, which would be something along the idea of we all get a say in most things. So I think you would have elected officials like we do now with politicians, but I think it could just be more a part-time role. And what they all do is they basically say, look, we've got to change how we fund the NHS, for example. We've costed up 3 options and we're now going to the public and getting them to vote. I mean, you could have just do it on your smartphone. I know some people are against that, on which one they'd like. The reason I would say I want that is because we've seen over time politicians and prime ministers come in, make an absolute mess of the country, then they go off. Like they're, on an American speaking tour, or they've got enough stocks and shares, they're okay. And the country is always left with their bad political choices. If we have more of a say in sort of the big things around energy, around international policy or whatever, where actually you need the backing of the public to do big things that are going to be implemented over years, I think that is possibly worth exploring and seeing how we could do it. Because right now, this system we have, which is a very old-fashioned system of we elect a local MP, then they basically have free range to do whatever they want. A lot of them vote against the way their constituents wanted, as we saw in Brexit. I just don't know that this works. And I don't think this system is going to hang up much longer because it's not getting results. And we're all such a generation now that wants our say. I mean, if you're going on Twitter or Blue Sky or whatever and screaming about, yeah, you're stupid, wouldn't it be more productive if you could just vote yourself? We obviously, in I think it was ancient Greek times, like everyone got a vote on everything that happened. And I just think that we now have the technology where I don't think people want to vote on everything. I don't think people want politics that much in their lives. But if, say, every quarter, it was just a thing we got into. So I need to go and do my voting, and these are all the things the politicians have proposed, and this is where I am. That might be something to explore.
I couldn't agree with you more, Lewis, and they're words I never thought I would say.
I thought you were going to give me a hard time on it.
No, I have been saying this in some similar form for a long time. We talk so much about being a democracy, however, we don't actually make the decisions. We don't have a say in the things that impact us. Like, I appreciate that the democracy at the top level means we vote in our MPs and they're supposed to represent us, but we know that that isn't the case in a lot of constituencies, and people are unhappy all the time. So I think more than anything, it would give power back to the people. It would also shift responsibility and accountability back to public. I think particularly when everyone's got an opinion on the NHS, for example. So saying like, okay, we did what we did. This is democratic. This is where we're at. And I think it would also make the politicians work harder about being honest and being truthful, because you would see they would have to sell these ideas to us, not sell, but present. And we would have to engage with it. And I think more people would engage with politics and they try and understand it. And it would impact our voting. I think it would be hugely beneficial for us all to have a say in certain things. I agree, we're not all qualified, but I don't know that a lot of them are qualified either to make these decisions. But we all live in this country, and we should have a right to say to speak on those things. So yeah, for the first and possibly last time ever, I agree with you, Lewis Oakley.
I'll take it. Well, that's it for this episode of What's Trending. Do comment below and let us know which stories you would like to see featured on next week's episode. And if you would like to find out more about Spencer, you can find them at Spen Cooper on all social media platforms.
Subscribe for more content.